Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Tonight at 8 o'clock here at KCAL 9. Police pursuing a car burglary suspect.
Let's go right up to Stu Mundell live in Sky 9. Stu.
Well, Jeff, Susie, this car driving very quickly. It definitely was a pursuit earlier on. Right now, it's one of those in limbo type of chases. Now, it started in the West Hollywood area. Some sort of assault or some sort of crash was involved with that vehicle that you see right there, that Dodge Challenger. And then there was the officers found the car took off. There was a chase on the roads of the West Hollywood area into Hollywood and then onto the 101 freeway. From the 101 freeway, we've been making our way from the Hollywood area up here to, right now we're in Pacoima, northbound 5 freeway, coming up on the 118. Now the vehicle moving very, very quickly. You can see that. It speeds at one point well into 100 miles an hour. Now, the pursuit portion of this. Who's chasing it? Well, that's a really good question. Now, California Highway Patrol is aware of the situation. They've been told that this is going on, and they are allowed, and they may or may not get involved in this chase. A helicopter above, that's going to be the sheriff's helicopter, the original one, still following along, keeping an eye on it, basically working to get a hold of the California Highway Patrol. So now you can see the car making very, very quick moves, going around using the gore point right there. Somebody else was behind that vehicle. And we've seen this, it's California highways. Every now and then, a civilian might see a fast-moving vehicle. Maybe he was cut off trying to catch up. But right now, this vehicle, is it a pursuit? Well, it's being followed by the helicopter, and we're making our way northbound on the 5.
So we understand this all started, as you mentioned, in West Hollywood of a car break-in. Is there more than one suspect, Stu?
Well, Jeff, I wish I really had solid information on that. We do not know. We've also, there was some conflicting information that this car might actually be a rental out of the San Francisco area. We're trying to work on confirmation on that as well. So, and this, again, we're moving northbound on the 5. Are we going to go to San Francisco? It'd be a nice little vacation for us, but I don't think we're going to be able to follow it that far. Or is that car going to make it that far? Right now, though, the California Highway Patrol, aware of the situation on their freeways. The sheriff's ship above, that's that light that you're seeing every now and then. Following it, they are working to get a hold of the California Highway Patrol, and then it's kind of up to them. Is the crime worth the effort to stop this vehicle? Well, it is driving pretty fast on their freeways.
Stu, you were talking about the possible crash with the car with that Dodge Challenger in the West Hollywood area shortly before this pursuit, or the portion of the pursuit that was a pursuit, began. Do you know anything more about that part? Who the person crashed into, or was it another car?
No, the only thing we heard and again, this is unconfirmed, didn't come through our desk. Unconfirmed information was that there were minor injuries involved, but that was all we heard. And again, not even, I got to say, not even 100% sure that is with this pursuit. You have to understand, we're listening to channels. They have other incidents going on West Hollywood, but I believe that this was involved in this chase. Right now, though, I can tell you that we're going about 90 miles an hour. We're northbound on the 5 freeway. We're coming quickly up on to the Newhall Pass. There is traffic this evening, but this vehicle doesn't seem to be slowing down very much, just kind of weaving in and out. I'm getting a little bit of a wider shot there so you can see what that suspect vehicle is dealing with. The dangerous driving might be what the California Highway Patrol might want to see to get involved.
Yeah, this is taking some pretty big risk here. The traffic is starting to slow down, as we can see.
What?
This is a performance vehicle, high-performance vehicle. This is a Dodge Challenger, and we understand the driver is wanted for trying to break into a vehicle.
Shut off the wigwags?
In West Hollywood. Now, we don't know if that car is a rental car or if it's a stolen car. It came out of San Francisco. But as you see here, it's going from the left to the right lanes. Pretty aggressive driving, Susie, up to 90 miles an hour.
That's right. And as we mentioned this, we picked it up in the West Hollywood area where there was some sort of crash, as we understand, involving this Dodge Challenger that is being followed right now by the LA County Sheriff's Department chopper. It looks like only that chopper at this point lighting it up. The chase went through West Hollywood, 101 northbound, went on the 5 freeway in the Sun Valley area. Here we are now in the Newhall Pass. The driver often going almost 100 miles an hour, making some quick and dangerous moves, driving on shoulders. Stu was talking about the gore points. Now, again, we said that this is only a following, or I should say tracking mode. Now, the LAPD has a tracking mode where they'll take ground units, they back off, they actually keep a line of sight, and they try to get the suspect to slow down while the chopper, as we understand, is the LA County Sheriff's Department involved right now. They try to broadcast the position of the car as they go along. So right now, as far as we know, they are in tracking mode. Stu, do we have any idea why they may have went into this mode? Did you actually see that point, or were you already in tracking mode when we got to this suspect?
Well, we were actually still following. There was still a pursuit when we had gotten there. There were no units on the ground because they couldn't keep up with the high speeds on the freeway. The helicopter was following it. Right now, we are listening or trying to narrow it down if the California Highway Patrol is going to get involved. We definitely are northbound on the 5 freeway, making our way into the Santa Clarita area. Pretty much established. There's no other freeways that he could take right now. And northbound 5, these type of chases always seem to always to me are mystifying, because the driver driving very quickly, I don't know what the idea of the destination is for this guy. I mean, who knows for real? But it's besides that driver, and sometimes I wonder if they even know. He might be making really good time right now, keeping speeds right around 90 miles an hour. At this point, no law enforcement behind him. If a law enforcement does get involved, though, at some point they are going to catch up to him. And the thing is, right now at these high speeds, this time of night, crowded freeway, he's actually been pretty lucky with the maneuvers he's been making here. But it's just that one time when somebody innocent is unaware or makes moves in front of this person, and there's that collision, and that's when this all really goes south. Right now, though, the California Highway Patrol is working with the Sheriff's Department, trying to get them in place to take over this chase. Right now, though, we are northbound. Calgrove is going to be the off-ramp if we haven't passed it already, and establish speeds on the emergency lane every now and then, picking up into, just getting into the triple digits now, just touching 100 miles an hour.
You know, you mentioned that there might have been an accident earlier. It looks to me like the left front headlight might be out. I don't know if it's a front end damage or not, but we did have some reports of possibly this vehicle hitting another vehicle in West Hollywood as it continues to pick up speed. This is a Dodge Challenger. As you know, this is a pretty fast vehicle, high performance vehicle. We understand there's a suspect behind the wheel wanted for trying to break into a car. We don't know if this is the actual car that they broke into or other vehicle, but this is the car that they took off in. This is the Sheriff's Department. There's CHP. You see there on the shoulder, looks like they're getting ready to engage. Now, LASD has asked CHP to get involved, as this is now on the northbound 5 freeway and was a following. Initially started out, Susie, as pursuit and a following, and now it might be a full-blown pursuit once again. As this vehicle, we said 90 miles an hour, but it looks like it might be going even faster. Yeah,
we've been in this tracking mode this entire time with the LA County Sheriff's Department airship overhead and the CHP just kind of sitting back, but with their line of sight on this suspect, obviously, and looks like that was the first actually ground patrol unit that we saw this evening. As far as we picked it up, there might have been earlier, obviously, when Stu was overhead, but as the time that we've been broadcasting, that's the first CHP unit that we've actually seen.
You know, this is very dangerous. We talk about the speeds on a highway of being, you know, the speed limit's 65, people go 10 miles above, and this guy is passing everybody like they are standing still. And the big problem here is, see that? You
so
have to
tight.
take a shoulder, which is not the same as the roadway, because they're going so fast, and it's nighttime, and somebody going let's say 65 or the speed limit, maybe even a little slower, they can come up on them at a moment's notice and not even have time enough to brake. That's the big problem here, is this could end up in a violent collision.
Yeah, it looks like this person is getting away at least from some of that tighter traffic that we saw earlier this evening. Stu, are you seeing any, I guess, the bigger traffic points ahead, or is this pretty clear sailing ahead?
It's pretty clear sailing right now. I'm taking a look. It's going to be quite a while before we actually see something. I did have permission to bring up the map just because I didn't want to say these numbers and have people say, oh, come on, Stu. There you go. We're going about 140 miles an hour.
Wow.
And that number, sometimes when you're saying that, you know, oh, the map isn't that accurate, these numbers, take a look at them. They're staying pretty solid. You can see how fast other cars are moving behind or he's passing them here on the freeway. We're northbound freeway. We're starting a little bit of an incline as we're coming over to the 126, so speeds might slow down, even though that is a Dodge Challenger. We're assuming it is the big V8 just because of the intake on that in the hood. But right now, this vehicle moving extremely fast out here this evening and continuing to try to keep ahead of the California Highway Patrol. Lights are off. That's another one. Just always kind of confuses me. What is that? What is that doing there? All of a sudden, we can't see him. His lights are off. Oh my gosh, he disappeared. It doesn't really work that way. So anyway, California Highway Patrol still right behind this vehicle. Extremely high speeds. And again, you just got to wonder if this has just started with a minor break-in in somebody's vehicle, somebody's car in West Hollywood. Why are you taking these chances right now? Yeah. Why are you taking these chances right now to get into these high speeds, to do this type of dangerous maneuvers, and put so many other people at risk if it's just that? And again, that might lead to something else. Maybe that driver is wanted for something bigger.
Going over 100 miles an hour and the headlights completely off. I mean, that's just, to me, you just don't understand why anybody would drive at that speed on a highway, put all those people at risk. Look at this. Look how fast they're going with no headlights whatsoever.
You know, they may think that they're being incognito and sneaky and trying to get away from law enforcement officials, but that chopper, it's hard to lose that chopper.
Yeah, you see the brake lights coming on pretty quickly. I don't know how they're able to get through all this threading the needle. You know, there's fast and really fast, and this is, I hate to be flippant, but Ricky Bobby fast. This is like 147 miles an hour.
It was disturbing to see what it was clocking in at, Jeff.
Yeah. We knew that it was going faster than 90 miles an hour, and certainly it's doing almost 50 miles more than that an hour.
We were just talking about how the CHP seem to have now joined this. Now, I believe, is a pursuit on the northbound 5 freeway in Santa Clarita. This all began in the West Hollywood area. It was a car theft, a burglary, in fact, of a car. And we don't know how many people are in this car, if multiple. We know that there's a driver, obviously, but we don't know if they have any accomplices or any people in the driver, in the passenger seat or in the back. We have no idea. We have no idea. Obviously, the windows look tinted. It's dark out there. But this driver, obviously, no regard for public safety, because they've been just squeezed. Look at that. I mean, that move right there will show you just how dangerous.
Yeah, and you wonder if this is just a regular driver. I mean, this could be somebody that has no experience at all with a high-performance vehicle. I mean, 147 miles an hour in a car like this is not a big deal, but if it's for somebody that's not used to a vehicle like this, I mean, right now it appears that they're doing a pretty good job of keeping it under control, but all it takes is that split second. A roadblock in front of them, a pothole, or just that wrong move at this speed. I mean, if you just make a little bit of a turn, kind of an aggressive maneuver, that car is going to flip, and who knows who it's going to hurt and hit, and the aftermath could be very violent and very serious.
It's true, and as we mentioned earlier, this was a pursuit in the beginning. Then units actually backed off. Law enforcement officials backed off. We don't know exactly why, but they'll do that often if they don't want to put the public in danger, because obviously when they are in pursuit of a driver who's driving at extremely high speeds, like this driver is obviously, they don't want to put anyone's safety in danger and harm's way, obviously. But now it looks like they've rejoined that pursuit. And speaking in those terms, Stu, are there 2 units behind this car right now? 2 CHP units?
As far as I can tell right now, the Newhall officers in the Newhall division, I think they've actually backed off, probably because of the high speeds. Right now, we're starting that climb up into the into the Grapevine area. I do know that when we start getting closer to Kern County, The California Highway Patrol that patrols up there in that area just before Kern. They are, let's just say, they don't really like speeders on their freeways. They will be very aggressive to bring things to an end. And many times when we've seen these chases in the past make their way up these mountains. Well, look at that. Oh my goodness. Make their way up the hillside here, and we cannot follow them. They will stop in that area, in the Cajon area. The California Highway Patrol in the Cajon area will bring these chases to an end. Right now, though, this car is still climbing up the grapevine. The speeds are slowing down. I don't know if that's because of the hillside or maybe something else, but it's really, really starting to slow down. And there's your answer right there, California Highway Patrol right behind it.
Might be coming to an end.
And it might be coming to an end, and I can almost guess that this is going to be a fuel issue rather than this suspect just deciding to stop. This is an unusual place for him just to pull over, but was an unusual chase from the very beginning. Let's see how this comes to an end now.
Yeah, left-hand shoulder, really interesting. Now, this is a pursuit of a car theft suspect, a car burglary suspect, and we don't know if this car might be stolen. We don't know. It might be a rental. As far as we know, it's from the San Francisco area, but this all started in the West Hollywood area with the car theft and also a crash with, we don't know if it was another car, some sort of crash involving this Dodge Challenger that the CHP has been pursuing on the 5 freeway. But before that, we were on the 101 northbound freeway. We were in Hollywood, in the West Hollywood area. That's where it started. This car obviously just going so fast, the driver going speeds, over 140 miles?
147 is the highest that we clocked it at, right?
Wow.
Now, this is the smartest thing that this driver has done to pull over. We hope that they just pulled over. Maybe they ran out of gas. But just imagine 147 miles an hour. If you hit somebody on the highway, it's nighttime. At one point in time, the driver was driving without the headlights on for some reason. We see this all the time. 147 miles per hour. If there had been a collision or some sort of impact, just the damage, and who knows who could have been killed or injured or whatever the case may be. So this is a pretty good outcome that this is at least on the side of the road, 5 northbound freeway in Santa Clarita. It started in West Hollywood, so it did go just a little stretch. At one point in time, as you mentioned, it was on, then it was off, following, then it picked back up when they got in those high speeds. You got to wonder if that was the reason why, because they were fearful that something might happen as a result of going 147.
Yeah, it's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, they're trying to, think about everyone's safety. Obviously, not just the driver, but this pursuit coming to an end right now, at least the pursuit portion of it in Santa Clarita on the 5 freeway northbound. Now, the guns are going to be drawn, obviously. It looks like 3 CHP units are there now. Guns are always drawn and trained on the suspect car.
Is there an arm out of the passenger side now,
That's
Stu?
what I thought I was seeing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We're still kind of wondering, is there more than one person inside that car? The driver could have slid over to get into the passenger side. Maybe the California Highway Patrol said that because of the angle of the car. These officers are unable to see that driver or any activity on the driver's side, so there's that possibility. But it is always very curious to see how many people are inside that car, and if it is more than just the driver, who sits in that passenger seat at 147 miles an hour and goes along for that ride? Who rides with their friend or that driver? Yeah, with those extremes. Right now, though, more officers from California Highway Patrol are arriving, which may indicate there are more than one person inside that vehicle. They just want to keep an eye on, they're going to make sure they have enough officers if that car perhaps is full of people. There might be 4 people inside there. Where we are exactly, technically, we're in the Newhall area. That's what our map is showing us, and we're very close to Lake Hughes Road on the northbound 5 freeway. Obviously, there's no other traffic right now, so the freeway is closed on the northbound 5. It's going to build up pretty quick. I am anxious to see how many folks are inside that car. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are at home as well. Right now, though, officers, they're not taking any chances. They've basically, you can see, 4 of them. They're all lined up right there and probably coming up with a game plan, how they're going to start getting these folks out of that vehicle one by one. But you are right. There's definitely at least a passenger or at least an arm out of the window.
Hey, Stu.
Don't know if that's the passenger.
Yeah, let me get you an update here real quick. We got some new information. It appears the Sheriff's Department deployed some spike strips and the vehicle went over the spike strips, and that is how this came to an end. We understand that there was a spike strip that was deployed at some point in time We didn't see that. We don't know how they were able to do that, but you know, that's the CHP and the LASD. However they do that, it's amazing. They probably got a heads up and were ahead and were able to do that somehow. But that's what we're hearing right now, is that they got a nice hit with the spike strips.
That is incredible.
It's impressive, isn't it?
You know, we always talk about how much time it takes to deploy those spike strips. It's not an easy task. You don't just throw them out there. You have to get them out of the bag. You have to take them out of the bag. Then you got to throw them, and they've got to go in such a way that the car is going to go over them and not, you know, hurt anyone else or damage anyone else's tires, obviously. And I don't know how they got in that area positioned to do that. It's incredible work on their part to be exactly in that spot at that time.
It is amazing. It's one of those things that we'll certainly follow up on to find exactly when they were able to do that. But this is the end of this police pursuit of a driver wanted for breaking into a vehicle in West Hollywood. Let's take a break here on KCAL 9 News. It's 8:20. We'll come right back and continue this coverage of the latest pursuit here in Los Angeles.
Back to our breaking news now in the Castaic area, where it is the end of a police pursuit, a CHP pursuit, I should say. But right now we're getting some new information as this pursuit came to an end, and we're waiting for the officers to go ahead and get this driver out of this car. We're understanding that there are perhaps multiple people in this car. And also, the driver is not complying. The driver is refusing to come out, and the CHP is asking for a K9 unit. You can see on the right side of your screen.
That's the passenger.
I believe that was the passenger who came out, obviously walking backwards, listening to the commands of the officers there. But the driver, we haven't seen that person yet, so we should wait for that. We'll wait for that.
Yeah, we understand that the spike strips were deployed and the driver drove over the spike strips that deflated at least that appeared to be the left front tire, and that's the reason why this pursuit thankfully came to an end after speeds of 147 miles an hour. Stu Medell has been following overhead in Sky 9. Stu, what's the latest?
Well, we got one person in custody, a second person getting out of the vehicle right now. If the driver's not being compliant and that dog shows up, it's going to be it's going to add another twist to this story this evening. Spike strips, we are hearing that because I was finding it hard to believe that they actually did that, but we are hearing that they did that at Lower Cross. So that's the area where the 5 freeway, if you travel this area, it crosses over. It actually swaps, where the south and the north actually swap sides out here, as they are separate actually roads. They don't connect. So that's the area where they actually successfully placed those spike strips. It must have been a very quick move and very stealthy, as we didn't see it, but it was enough to bring this vehicle to a stop this evening. There's the second person getting out of the vehicle right now, and it's a little bit, we are up a little bit higher because of the darkness out here and also the law enforcement aircraft, so we are up a little bit higher. That's we just used the doubler here on the camera, so it's going to get a little darker, but you definitely can see a little bit clearer that the second person getting out of that vehicle. California Highway Patrol in here in force, and if they are waiting for the K9 unit, he has not arrived, or he or she has not arrived as of yet. The other suspect, the first person to get out of the vehicle, is in the center of the street right now by the back of the California Highway Patrol. Second person going to be placed in the cuffs here in just a moment. And again, if the driver, like you said, is non-compliant at this moment, well, we're going to have to, it might be a waiting game, or he might just change his mind.
You know, such good work here by law enforcement tonight. This vehicle was going so fast, they were able to deploy those spike strips. The driver, at one point in time, going 147 miles an hour, was able to get over the spike strip, deflate those tires, and end this. Who knows how this would have ended? Every time we get into a police pursuit, you just never know. Is it going to end in a crash? Is it going to end like this, where the spike strip is deployed and then everything is basically stopped and neutralized?
Sure. And
you just don't know.
Sure, and even after that, I mean, you would expect in a lot of these, we see these people actually do obey the commands of the officers, when they say, turn off your car, throw the keys out, take off your seatbelt, open up the door from the outside, keep your hands exposed at all times, but sometimes it doesn't happen. And in this case, the driver is not compliant. We'll be back with more breaking news in Castaic after this.
Let's put a bow on this and go back to that breaking news of a police pursuit. This is CHP you see there in Castaic on the 5 northbound freeway. This was after a driver, and it appears one other suspect, which was a passenger in that white Dodge Challenger, were initially attempted to be pulled over for breaking into a vehicle in West Hollywood.
That's right. Let's go up to Stu Mundell in Sky 9. Looks like the CHP officers have their guns trained still on this car. Stu, have you seen any movement from the car since we last spoke?
Well, we've been watching and counting as the folks have been coming out. We're at 3 right now. The guys on the ground, we did hear them clearly say that they believe there are 4 people inside that vehicle. So that would hold true with the driver, that it might still be refusing to come out of that vehicle. We do know that the California Highway Patrol, all law enforcement in a situation like this, they take their time. There's no rush to get everybody out of that vehicle at one time, so they're taking them into custody one by one. That third person right now just being frisked before being placed inside the California Highway Patrol vehicle. So if it's been the way it has been, they're going to wait till that person's in the car, which we're seeing right now, and then they'll start giving commands to that last person, if they are correct on their count, where they said 4 inside the vehicle. And we're going to wait and see if that driver is going to be compliant. Like, as you said earlier on, we had some information that the driver was, from the get-go, was saying that was not going to get out of that car. So we're going to wait and see right now. Officers from California Highway Patrol, they basically have 3 in their cars right now, and then it's going to become a waiting game. But like you said, if the K9 has been called and makes his way here shortly, this could come to an end quicker. But again, they're not going to send that dog into a dangerous situation. This might become more of a waiting game, which is going to put a lot of strain on the 5 freeway northbound.
Well, you know, if there are 4 suspects, and it appears that there are, that would be a crew of bandits that were trying to break into vehicles in West Hollywood, which started all of this. Now, strangely enough, it appears that the vehicle, the one you're seeing there, we don't know the status of the vehicle. We know it's registered to a car rental out of San Francisco. Whether that's the person that's driving it or not, we don't know. Whether it's stolen, we don't know. All we know at this point in time is it appears that 4 people were trying to break into cars in West Hollywood. Somebody alerted police. They tried, this was Sheriff's Department, then tried to intercept them, and then they took off. And then we are now at the end of the pursuit after this vehicle ran over a set of spike strips, which was placed down by law enforcement, and at one point in time going 147 miles an hour northbound up the 5 freeway. It's good that this thing ended at least this way.
You know, incredible how the LA County Sheriff's Department was actually able to lie that spike strip down. I am still baffled by this because of the speeds. And, you know, exactly, Stu, because we don't know. How did they know where this person was actually going to go? You know what I mean? You can't lay that whole spike strip across the whole freeway, obviously.
There's other cars. Yeah,
there's other cars.
Going in between traffic,
so
left and right.
Really accurate work by the LA County Sheriff's Department tonight, but obviously you can see this person is not being compliant. Another big question mark that we have tonight, Jeff and Stu, we don't know if this person, this driver that we're waiting for to get out of this car is armed.
Well, and also, if he's
true.
reluctant to get out of there, that means, it tells me that maybe there's a warrant for him, or that he's got a history of criminal activity or something. I mean, it could be anything. But go ahead, Stu. We could also just kind of guess as to what's going on.
We're just kind of making things try to stick here. But something else that's interesting about this is that if that vehicle just had spike strips, if it's just a flat tire, that wouldn't disable that vehicle. And for a suspect that was so desperate to get away, so making those moves so quickly, trying to get away from that from the law enforcement, then just to kind of pull over because they got a flat tire, that's interesting in itself. There you go, one of the helicopters out there, I believe that's the sheriff's ship, making a very low pass, just double checking to make sure that there is nobody else in the car. Maybe the number was wrong. Maybe there were only 3 people inside that vehicle.
They're definitely clearing
California Highway Patrol, though, right now making that move, walking up to that car, opening the door. I don't think you can hide that well, so it does
pop up
definitely
in the
look
trunk
like
here.
Everybody inside that vehicle.
Nobody in the back.
And there you go. Nobody in the back. So coming to an end right now, 3 people in that car as the pursuit came to an end out here on the 5 freeway. You
know, Stu, let's go ahead while we're up there and we have you. Let's take a look at the backup. We know this is the 5 northbound in Castaic. Just for traffic purposes, for everybody who's watching, maybe they might have to head out that way. We know that that portion of the highway is closed. So what do you estimate this backup to be, Stu?
Well, we'll take a look here. It actually, there must be some kind of app going on there, because it does seem like it could be a lot worse out here. It's not even really stopped, or there must be another stop someplace else, because the freeway is basically very slow and go up here. And there's the switch. That's what they were talking about earlier on. This is where the 5 switches that they've been talking about. So that's where the spike strips apparently were deployed. But it doesn't look like it. Backup's really not that bad. It's basically, you're even moving from the switch and basically getting into the traffic right there. It's only maybe about half a mile, 3/4 of a mile worth of traffic right there. And then once they get that vehicle cleared, I'm sure California Highway Patrol, they want to keep their freeways moving. They'll they'll open those lanes up very quickly.
All right, Stu Mandel live in Sky 9 tonight over the end of a pursuit in Castaic with 3 people arrested.
Got to say, CHP, I'm impressed but not surprised at how they were able to stop this with those spike strips. Just an amazing job by them. We'll continue to follow the story here on KCAL 9.